we have the FN509 Tactical. Actually a decent shooting gun. I like the gun. This might be going in the collection. All of these I think are really good. Welcome everybody to the Concealed Carry channel. I'm Grant McLean. I'm super excited about today's review. We have the FN509 Tactical. It comes as a nice package. It is a nice gun, so I'm very excited to share with you our range time and all the unboxing and all that stuff we do here. I want you to go ahead and hit that like. If you support people's ability to defend themselves with a firearm, hit the like. If you support the Second Amendment community, hit the like. It definitely helps out our channel, probably more than you know. Of course, hit the subscribe if you haven't already. That way you get updated when we have new reviews come out. And I want to say thank you so much to our Patreon supporters. You guys have been awesome in helping us make this more of a full-time thing. As you know, range time costs money. Targets cost money, guns cost a lot of money, and we want to make sure that we can, continue to do this for you guys to help you make well-educated decisions on whether or not the products we show here on the channel are going to be a good fit for you. So visit our Patreon page. It's in the comments below. It's the top link. You can click there and take a look at what you can do to help support the channel. Those of you who are supporters for Beyond the Black Shirt, thank you so much. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, Beyond the Black Shirt is for Patreon supporters who want to see things beyond just concealed carry guns. We're going beyond the black shirt. Oh yeah, baby. It's nice. Dude, was that insane?
It was really, really quiet.
So custom guns, rifles, things like that. Beyond the Black Shirt is going to be able to, show you that exclusive content there. And any Patreon supporter will be entered into our quarterly giveaway. This quarter, we are giving away a Traeger pellet grill. The grill is like $600 something. It is legit. I have one. I love it. So I'm very excited to share that love with a special winner who is a Patreon supporter. So awesome. Definitely visit the Patreon page and see how you can help out the channel. I want to say thank you so much to Northwest Armory. You know what? If you need to order a gun, you need to order one of these guns or whatever gun, just visit nwarmory.com. You can have it shipped to your local FFL, or if you go into the store, you can do an in-store pickup, of course. Tell them that Grant over at the Concealed Carry channel sent you in. They're going to take very good care of you. You can say hi to Khaki as well. He's such a good doggy. I do want to say again, thank you so much to my friends over at X Hunt Targets. They have been awesome in supporting the channel as well. If you need to get some of these awesome reactive targets, they are weather resistant, so it's perfect for this time of the year. Visit xhunttargets.com, order up those targets. I think you're going to be super happy you did. All right, without further ado, let's go ahead into the unboxing portion of this. If you were to go into the store and buy this gun, it's going to come in this awesome cardboard box. But what's inside is even more awesome. Here we go. Look at this case. This comes in. This is a great soft case. Great quality. Really like that. Pop that open. Inside the baggie here, you have the FN509 Tactical. There's a small pocket on the side, and we'll go over the contents of that pocket real quick before we go into the gun. You have an extra guide rod and spring kind of kit here, and this is, they give you two, so one's more for like target loads, and then the other one's going to be for duty ammo. So you can swap those out easily when you take the gun apart. And then you have your optics kit here. You'll have a couple pieces of propaganda. Oh, here's your directions to the optic kit. So kind of tell you how to put that on, which is very cool. And your manual. There you go. That's what's in the little secret pocket. In the main part of the bag, you're going to have your FN509T, baby. Ooh, yeah, this is a nice piece. Nice piece. Let's talk about this here shortly. We have the big happy stick. Oh, yeah, baby. Look at that. 24 rounds of Freedom Seeds. And a extra little back strap. This is going to be a little bit smaller than what's already on it, so you can see that that one's a little bit thinner. So not a huge amount of adjustment, but it's there for you. Let's go ahead and set that stuff aside. All right, let's boil the specs on this down real quick. We have an FN509 Tactical. Now, they don't tell you whether or not this is a compact or a full size. It's kind of like a hybrid in a certain way, especially with that threaded barrel. If you look at the barrel length, this is a 4.5-inch barrel. Without the threaded barrel, it's about a 4-inch barrel. So that would be more of like compact size guns that are going to be in that 4-inch barrel length. But the Tactical only comes with a threaded barrel. So keep that in mind. If you don't want that part, you'll probably want to look at some of the other 509 models. Now the gun is a little bit longer on the back from what I've seen for 4-inch barrel guns. A lot of them will kind of stop here. So I could say that the barrel might be like a compact size barrel, but the slide might be more of a full-size slide. The height on the gun, though, and the capacity, this is 17 rounds. Now, that's more of what you're going to see in full-size guns. But at the end of the day, whether it's a compact, full-size, super-size, who cares? If you like the gun, go with it. Don't just go based off of, that. But I want you guys to know this, because if you just type in, compact guns, you might miss out on this. If you type in full-size guns, you might miss out on this gun, because it's kind of that funky, kind of pulls from compacts and full sizes in certain dimensions of the gun itself. And then, of course, you have the 24-round happy stick hanging off the end. That extendo clip right there. Oh my god, that thing's awesome. You have that as well. So we have a 9mm double stack, either 17 rounds or 24 rounds. So length on this gun here, 7.9 inches. Height is, with the flush magazine, 5.25, so 5.75 inches. And the width is 1.35 inches. It's kind of a boxy gun. It reminds me of a Glock for sure. It reminds me of a little bit of the CZ in a certain way. I talked about this before in the 509 Compact and how kind of the grip reminds me of that. This little stippling here, texture reminds me of like the Zev, but it's not like the most comfortable gun, but it certainly is not a bulky fat gun either. It just kind of, it's a little blocky-ish. Weight is 1 pound 9 ounces, and the price tag on this is $1,049. At $1,049, I can see how people would look at an FN as a more premium high-end gun, and I'm not saying that it isn't. I think that $1,049 for what you're getting with this gun is pretty appropriate. I know a lot of people are really digging the Glock 19X at this time, and it's very hard to get, and the prices on those have gone sometimes through the roof. I've seen them for over $900, and that is pushing you very close into this gun. If you like that FDE finish, I feel like this is definitely a gun that you should take a look at. If you're looking at like a Glock 19X, and I talk about that one because yes, the aesthetics, but also the things I know people are doing to Glock 19Xs. They're adding on a threaded barrel, they're putting on suppressor height sights, they're milling out the slide for an optic, and then they're also machining front serrations. That has a 17-round capacity, or it does have that, and it also has that little pinky extension piece, which is a 19-round capacity. But overall, the dimensions of this and that gun are going to be quite similar. The feel of them when you hold them is going to be quite similar. But I know for sure you're not going to add on suppressor height, tritium sights, a threaded barrel, and mill the slide and also mill in front serrations onto a 19X for the difference between that and this. I think this, being in the time we are, where guns are a little bit harder to get, but the higher end guns, they haven't really changed in price so much. It's more of like the guns that would be $550 are now $750, and the guns that were $750 are now $900. But I find that with guns that were $1,000 pre-pandemic, they're kind of around $1,000 still. The difference is people know that there's not as much of a price gap anymore, and so they're swiping up more of your tier 1 or premium handguns the second that they hit the showroom floor. And I'm seeing that with this. I had to snag this thing right out of Northwest Armory the second that it got in, and thank them, thank you guys so much that you give me that early access to the guns where I can go in and get them and do these awesome reviews for you guys. That's kind of my take on this gun, and it does come in black as well, which could speak to the folks who are looking at like a Glock 45 MOS model. We're going to do what we do where we start from the top and go down, and so we'll talk about the sights and everything, pros, cons, so on and so forth. Let's share some range time with you. So if you haven't seen this before, what I do is I'm doing 5 shots in 2 seconds at 3, 5, 7, and 10 yards. And basically I'm taking the gun, putting a few rounds down range, kind of get used to the ergonomics and the trigger and the sights of the gun, and then I go, okay, cool, let's toss the target out there and let's give her a rip. So at the 3 yards, we have a 3.4 inch group, and I was happy to see that it was just straight up and down. There was no drifting to the left. That's something that is not abnormal for me to do.
Okay, it's like straight up the line,
as you will kind of see here. So I was really happy to see that. The 5 yard, this was a 1.7 inch group, nice tight group there. 7 yards, nice tight group here, 1.7. And the 10 yards, 4.4 inch group, and you almost get that straight up and down line again there. And then we had one over here on the left. Being that this is not a red dot sight, it's an open sight gun, I am not disappointed in those groupings, especially with the small amount of time that I had behind this trigger before putting those groupings out. Super smooth shooting gun. I was really happy with that. And I'll talk about the trigger and my first impressions of the trigger and how that actually played out when it came to the range. Let's go ahead and jump into kind of the feature benefits of the gun. We'll start off at the top here with the sights. I really like the suppressor height sights, especially because it does have the optic cut up here. These suppressor height sights are metal. They look very well made. They're tritium, so you'll have a tritium front sight with a ring around it. The rear sights have the serrations in there. Actually, same as the front too. And the rear sights have the 2 dots. So it's a 3-dot tritium type of sight. The cool thing about this sight, well, not just the cool thing, but one of the cool things is, you have this optic plate which has these little wings, and they protect the rear sight. So if you're really rough on this gun and you drop it, bang it against things, you're not going to be too worried about bumping that rear sight, which is pretty awesome. Those little wings also have serrations in the front of them, which can help you rack the slide off of an object, whether it be your belt or a boot or a table or whatever it might be. So they also have extra kind of functionality to it, but aesthetically, a lot of people are drawn to that because it kind of looks like an airplane. It's pretty sweet. Kind of looks like a little fighter jet. This optic plate, obviously, it's going to be removable, and as I showed you earlier, you're going to have the different riser plates and adapter plates to be able to put your choice of optic on there. Now, FN has this piece patented here, and they say it's a really low optic mount. In the 509C, I had the MRD model, which also had the optic mount, didn't have like the little wings here, but I don't see that this optic mount is really lower than anyone else's optic mount. But what I do see is with the raised suppressor height sights, it can feel as though the optic is lower because you're going to have no problem co-witnessing with those sights. So they did a very good job on that. The optic plate also matches the slide very, very well. As far as the slide goes, I do like this slide a lot. I wish the serrations came up and over the top a little bit more, but they're very easy to manipulate, and the rear serrations are very easy to manipulate. The spring on this gun is not very heavy. It is very reminiscent of the feel, actually, of the slide is very reminiscent of the P320, except for, as you can see, the serrations come up higher. And that's, I talk about that with a P320 too. I was like, why don't they put the serrations just a little bit higher? But the slide weight is very reminiscent of this. Outside of that, the machining looks good. You can see the FN logo 509 right there. And then you have the 9x19 right up front. Looks really good. No complaints there. Now the barrel. There is something special about this barrel that I just love. Right up front here, the thread protector it's a 1/2x28 thread, but the thread protector has a O-ring built into the end of it. That is, I know it sounds so silly, and you can put like an O-ring on other guns and stuff like that, but that O-ring being built into the thread protector is awesome. And those of you who shoot with a thread protector know exactly what I'm talking about, how it just kind of loosens up, and so you'll be at the range and you'll put some rounds on, bam, 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 and then you'll it's just one of those things. You just go, okay, is it good? Yep, good. Tighten it back down. You don't have to worry about that at all. I wish that my guns that have threaded barrels had that O-ring built in to the thread protector. I wish that was like, take notes, guys, take notes. You need to be doing that. That is so awesome. Next, we're going to jump into the controls. I really like these controls, especially for people who are left-handed. A lot of guns, say with like the mag release, you have to get that turned around. This is already ambidextrous. It is a metal mag release. It has great texture to it for nice positive grip, and it's bigger. It comes back further into the grip than a lot, if not majority of all mag releases do. And it is very easy to manipulate. Even if you have smaller or medium-sized hands like I do, I don't have to reposition my hand to hit that mag release. No problem, because it's coming back so far. If you're left-handed, that's even better, because then you don't have to fiddle around with anything on the gun. And they didn't stop there. If you look up here at the slide lock release, that's also ambidextrous as well. It looks really good. It's finished off well. The texturing is great. It's not too big. It's not too small. It's just kind of perfect. That reminds me a lot of the slide lock release on the Zev OZ9, which is like perfect. Really, really like that too. So another winner right there. And then of course you have your takedown lever, which doesn't need to be ambidextrous, and it's just fine how it is. The trigger on this gun is my least favorite part about the gun. And I know that, well, actually, I don't know anybody with an FN who hasn't swapped the trigger out to like an Apex trigger. Unless it's the 509 long slide edge. That thing is, for FNs, that trigger is awesome from the factory. These triggers, similar to like the Smith & Wessons, you'll see they have that pivot right in the center of the trigger. That's your safety. But the trigger itself is not, in my opinion, a very smooth trigger. And FN will tell you it's between 5.5 and 7.5 pound trigger. That is a huge difference. And what I pretty much found is that it's about 5.5 pounds when you pull the trigger back and you're going through that take up. At the wall, it is about 7.5 pounds for it to break. And the reset is, it's okay. It's not a super short reset. It's not a super long reset. It's very reminiscent of most Glocks or SIGs or things like that. But it kind of has this, I don't want to say grittiness. Yeah, I would say it's kind of has this like grittiness. And I said this in the 509C review as well. It's polymer. It has a polymer trigger, and it's almost like they had a little bit of buffing out still left to do. Now, I know for a fact, because I have a friend who has a 509, and over time, that will smooth out. So it's going to be up to you. As a very kind individual commented, and I say this pretty much with anybody that I tell who's considering upgrading your trigger, that I say, hey, put like 500 to 1,000 rounds before you decide you want to upgrade the trigger. Because you're going to learn a lot about yourself. You're going to learn a lot about the gun. You're going to learn the intricacies about that trigger if you don't necessarily like it from the factory. Well, he brought up a great point, and he goes, hey, Grant, 500 rounds, how much is that in ammo? That's a lot of money these days. I mean, I'm seeing people sell 9mm for nearly $1 a round. We're talking 500 rounds, $500 to find out if you want to upgrade the trigger. And he commented, he said, yep, I'll just get the trigger upgrade. If everybody's doing it, how can you necessarily go wrong? And I had a very kind person also comment on the 509C MRD model that we did here on the channel and talk about his collection of 509s, and that he also does trigger jobs on his. And as a connoisseur of FNs, he was just like, yeah, this is it. This is what I do. So knowing that, if you like everything about the gun and you pick up the gun at the dealer and you're kind of going with the trigger and you're like, oh man, I feel that I feel that grittiness. It's like it needs to get just buffed out. And you feel that, and then you feel like the take up and then the wall, and you're like, man, that trigger is kind of heavy to it, and the reset is not like that smooth reset you may be used to, even on, say, like a Glock. And that is hard for me to necessarily say, because I am not a big fan of like Glock triggers. This is worse. Ugh, I hate saying that. God, but because I love everything else about this gun. But don't let that deter you. Take a look at aftermarket triggers like an Apex trigger. I think they do a fantastic job. My buddy has an Apex trigger on his, and that is one sick 509 for sure. Let's go ahead and do some trigger pulls so you guys can see here, and you'll disengage that safety. That's very easy to do, and you're just going to pull that trigger back. There's your take up right there, and here you're going to hit the wall, and I'm actually applying quite a bit of pressure onto this right now. There it goes. The reset, nothing too crazy, too special, or anything like that about the reset itself. It certainly is audible. It doesn't like push your finger forward like I do, like to feel on some, where it's just kind of like, hey, time to shoot again, time to shoot. It kind of pushes your finger forward a little bit. Let's go ahead and right there, you can see that how it kind of pushes my finger forward. Bam. That, oh my god, that's a super smooth trigger. My goodness. Very happy about that. But it's not to say that you can't get that smooth of a trigger in this chassis right here. let's talk about like the frame. So you have your pick rail in the front there. You can attach about everything you want to that, which is awesome. The grip itself is kind of a it reminds me of like several guns in one. You have like the FN gun, and then you have like the CZ, and then you have like the ZEV all in one here, and it kind of feels very reminiscent of that boxy Glock, or with that palm swell there. It does remind me of the CZ a bit. It's not like uncomfortable per se. I would like I like this kind of skateboard tape texture more, especially when your hands start to get sweaty. On some of these smoother parts, you can feel your hand move just a little bit. So I like that kind of rough skateboard tape texture there, but it is certainly a good feeling gun. And if you are carrying this gun, and since it isn't as aggressive with that, I don't think that you're going to have to worry too much about this like ruining any of your shirts or kind of, you know, chafing against your skin or anything like that. So I like that grip. The undercut, I wish it would have gone a little bit higher under there. I do like to get my hand like as high as I possibly can, and I don't necessarily want to torque my hand upward. I want to keep my finger flat there, but I wish that it just came up a little bit more. But you know what? I think that that's probably me and my medium-sized hands, and some guys with like bigger fingers and bigger hands, they're not necessarily, I think, going to tell the difference. On the back of the grip here, you do have that panel where you can swap it out. So the one that's on here right now is a medium, and what's inside the case is a small. There's a little pin here that you can pop that out and you can slide that down. So if you want to swap out that size, you definitely can. But like I said, what I'm finding is because of that oversized mag release there, even, you know, that medium is perfect for my medium size hands. So if you wanted to go smaller, you certainly could, but unlike some other medium size back straps, I still find that they're more towards a large size, and then you have to go smaller beyond that. This is truly kind of a medium size, and I think that this fits really well. There's a little lanyard loop down there, and you can take a look. That 17 round flush fit magazine fits in there very well. You do also have the 24 rounder too. I wish they would have included at least one more magazine in with the gun. I don't know how many people are really going to be running, you know, this on a, you know, everyday basis. Yeah, I can totally see that at the range, or if you're doing some type of course, I can totally see that. But I think majority people are going to be using a 17 rounder, and I wish that they would have included this, because some of these magazines right now can be really difficult to get. So that's kind of a bummer. But overall, you guys, like I mentioned earlier, I think that if you're looking for an optic ready gun, this is a really good option to keep in mind with all of the stuff that this gun comes with, and of course the reputation that FN has, you know, of being the most battle proven firearm. I think that this is a very good option to keep in mind for those folks looking for a Glock 45, folks who are looking for that Glock 19X. For those of you who are left-handed, this is probably one of the better choices for something that's going to be ambidextrous from the factory. You don't have to mess with it, and also the controls on the right side of the gun are very well done. It doesn't look copy-paste. It looks nice, fit, and finished from the factory. Make sure you guys go ahead and hit that like if you enjoyed the video today and you support the gun community. Hit that like, give us a thumbs up. Of course, subscribe if you haven't already. Share the channel with your friends, family, and other enthusiasts, especially those who are considering this gun and need a good kind of in-depth review on this firearm. I want to say again, thank you so much to our Patreon supporters. You guys have been awesome, and I can't wait to see who's going to win that Traeger grill. If you want to support the channel, just go into the description, click on the top link, and that's going to take you to our Patreon page, and you can support us however you can. We greatly appreciate it. And thank you so much to Northwest Armory. Folks, if you need to order a gun, visit nwarmory.com. They can ship it to your local FFL, or if you happen to be in the Portland area, pop on in and grab up a gun and tell them that Grant over the Concealed Carry channel sent you in. They'll take very good care of you. You can say hi to Khaki too, because he's such a good boy. And also, the folks over at X-Hunt Targets have been just awesome to work with, and you can get some of these precision reactive targets on their website, xhunttargets.com. Order those up, especially if you do a lot of outdoor shooting and it can be rainy, because they are a weather resistant material, which makes them very, very nice. So anyways, again, thank you guys so much for joining us today, and we will see you next time here on the Concealed Carry channel. Ready? Reviews come out. I think they're pretty awesome. What am I talking about? Of course they're awesome. I do them. Okay, let me start over.
Oh my gosh.
I think they're pretty awesome. Yup. Yup. I'm Grant McLean. I have an awesome. I can't wait to share with. At the top here, we'll start off with the sights, and so what we have here as far as sights go, oh my god, what we have here, we'll start with the sights and what we have here, oh my god, get to the fucking point. I'm gonna need you Patreon supporters, I need my Patreon supporters.